Welcome to my channel. I am Julia Win. I am a writer. Today, I would like to talk about my grandmother, Khin Myo Chit, a writer and journalist, and her translated books. Now, I would like to give you the list of her translated books, novels, and a poem. Day of the Last Minstrel, Sir Walter Scott, in 1932-33. East and West Confession of the Princess Anonymous in 1939-40. Wartime Spies, Martha McKenna, 1939-40. The Woman Thou Gravest Me, Paul King, 1939-40. Far from the Madding Crowd, Thomas Hardy, 1939-40. Tales from Shakespeare by Charles and Mary Lamb, 1961. Emil and the Detective, Erich Kästner, 1969-70. Strange Conflicts, Dennis Wheatley, 1969-70. Jonathan Siegel, Sir Richard Bath Livingstone, 1970. Gerald Ford and the Future of the Presidency, Jared Federhouse, 1976. Michelangelo Ivanhoe, 1974. Carve Her Name with Pride, Ruthbert James Money, 1976. Merchant of Venice, William Shakespeare, in 1975. I would like to give you some information about my grandmother's translated books, novels, and a poem. I choose them from the list. I firstly choose Day of the Last Minstrel, Sir Walter Scott. During 1932-33, my grandmother was a student at the Rangoon University. At that time, she translated Day of the Last Minstrel into Burmese as the style of old Burmese poetic rhyme. It was very difficult to recite beautifully, even for the Burmese people, including me. But I can recite the original for the first part of the poem to know what kind of the poem like. Reach there the man with soul so dead, who never to himself had said, "This is my own, my native land." I can recite it any time by heart because of the gratitude of my grandfather, who was an English teacher. He taught us English poems, sonnets, books, including my grandmother's books. I recite it here because I miss my grandfather so much. This poem also known as patriotism. So let's continue. My grandmother translated the whole poem of Day of the Last Minstrel into Burmese, and she sent it to the university journal. But she did not mention her name there. She told me about it. She said at that time she did not know what's the meaning of pen name. The editor of the university journal gave her pen name as Khin Myo Chit, Nation Love Mate. That's how she got her pen name, and she chose it for the rest of her life. The next book I choose Emil and the Detective, Erich Kästner. I would like to show you the cover of the book. The cover was drawn by Ubaji. Ubaji was a very famous painter and artist in Burma. The next book, Jonathan Siegel, Sir Richard Bath Livingstone. In 1970, my grandmother translated Jonathan Siegel into Burmese at Liangji magazine for USIS for 3 or 4 months. My grandmother told me that at that time, they already have 2 versions or translation in Burma by the 2 Burmese famous writers. But my grandmother liked Jonathan Segal very much. That's why she translated it into Burmese. In 1970, the complete book of her translation was published in Burma. So there were 3 versions of translation in Burmese for Jonathan Segal in Burma. The next book I choose Michelangelo, Ivanhoe. In 1974, my grandmother translated Michelangelo from the Reader's Digest. So I would like to show you the cover of my grandmother's translated book. The cover was drawn by artist Tim Wynn, the famous artist in Burma. The next book, Gerald Ford and the Future of the Presidency, Gerald Fetterhus. This book was published in 1970. My grandmother translated into Burmese for USIS. The next book I choose, Strange Conflicts, Dennis Whitley. My grandmother translated in 1969-70 into Burmese. She loved detective stories, fictions, mysteries, black magic stories very much. She liked Dennis Whitley's. At the preface of her translated book, she admitted she wanted to write like Dennis Whitley, but she could not write like him. So she translated one of his stories, Strange Conflict, into Burmese. It means she transformed his story into her own. The cover of the book, my grandmother's translated book, Strange Conflict, was drawn by Mao Nyu Win, famous painter in Burma. The next book, and the last one, I choose Merchant of Venice, William Shakespeare, in 1975. Before 1975, Merchant of Venice, the translation of my grandmother and the illustrations of Ubaji were serialized in Your Dorset magazine for 7 or 8 months. And later, the complete book of Merchant of Venice was appeared in 1975. So I would like to show you some pages and some illustrations and drawings of Ubaji. And if you know the Merchant of Venice very well, you may see, you may recognize the characters of Merchant of Venice, drawn by the famous painter Ubaji. Sherlock, Portia, Antonio, Jessica, Bassanio, Lorenzo, Larissa, and etc. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time.